I'll call the August 11th Selectmen's meeting to order at 6:37. First we'll do the Pledge of Allegiance.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
First on the agenda is public comment. Anybody wish to be recognized for public comment? Seeing none, we'll move on to department head committee items. We've got David Erickson from the Energy Committee. Discuss a grant application.
Yes. We have won the grant. The money is through the Federal Department of Energy, transferred to the State Department of Energy, and it's for solar on the safety complex. The two chiefs helped me get the application in, along with our Clean Energy New Hampshire helpers. We're members of that, and it's very helpful. Unfortunately, we couldn't take advantage of it as soon as it was announced that we had it, because we have to pay up front. And I hope you got from Naomi the schedule of the amounts due. But it's, once they get notice to proceed, they want around 6,000. Did you all get did you receive this?
Maybe I did that on time.
Didn't get a look at it. I'll hand,
$1,000 for initial?
yeah,
What's the next one?
I can forward this to you as soon as my laptop
Just read them off.
keyboard works. Okay. Once they order equipment and after a notice to proceed, it's almost 18,000, 17,800. Then when the equipment is delivered, we'll owe them almost 36,000. 50% mechanical completion.
I'm not sure the breakdown. They have the grant, but I don't think the breakdown is in.
Yeah, it's the last page.
Oh, last year.
Yeah, it's on the last page. 50% mechanical completion will be almost 24,000, and then approval to interconnect, they'll get the remainder, about 12,000. It's a total of 19,000. They say 240, but the grant was for 119,400. And my contact at the Department of Energy, her name is Paige Ralph, and she keeps contacting me and saying, hey, what's going on? You know, are you going to accept it or not? I think we just can't expect, with 119,000 sitting on the table, that it's going to be sitting there in a couple of weeks if we don't at least minute that we want to move forward with this.
What does it take for us to move forward? It's just for us to say yes?
You can just, there are two ways in my mind, and maybe Naomi has this more familiarity with this. One would just be to minute, we intend to move forward, but we have some questions. The other would be to sign the contract tonight.
So, just, if we sign, do we owe any money up front? And for how long for cash flow?
That's the, and I did print up several copies. We won't owe anything for a while, because in this shaded portion here, we are told, look at this again.
I've handed mine down there.
Oh,
Mine's a color one.
yeah, so that would be in yellow. Let me get this to James then, so you can all see it. So what it says is that since we don't, as a town, have 100, have these chunks of money, 40,000, 20,000 sitting around, we need to go to the voters. That's what Bruce said when he was ex officio on the Energy Commission. So we need to prepare a warrant article that the townspeople then approve and say, yeah, of course we want 119,000 of free money for solar. That's going to save us around 10,000 a year. It had been around 9,000 when I last looked into it, 8,500, but the rates just went up. So it's going to save us close to 10,000 if it's the same bid. But I think I advise you to ask them for a new, do you call it a request for proposal? A bid. Because they were going to give us 42 panels on the safety complex, but if the price of the panels have gone up, if the labor has gone up, it may be a slightly reduced proposal.
So this is 42 panels for how much? 119,000?
20.
But we owe nothing except an interconnection fee. It's pretty fantastic. Yeah.
For 28 panels, I paid 21, I got half off because of the rebates. It's
Yeah.
gone up a lot.
How big are the panels? 300 watt, 350?
They're more than that now, I think.
What's the total?
I'd have to go back to the RFP. Yeah.
So why 42? Is that all I could fit on there?
That's all they were willing to do for the 119,000.
So who set the 119? They did?
No, the state. The State Department of
The
Energy
state allocated. and we-
allocated that much money.
So I get it clear. Today, we'd like to have some kind of a go-ahead, correct?
Yeah.
And does that also mean submitting an RFP? Because we gotta get on the warrant article.
Right, we want that by March.
If we've already got the cost, we will submit an RFP in March or May, or whatever it is, when we finally get this through the warrant article.
Yeah,
Is that correct?
that's how I read it. Let me get the letter from Paige, where she asks, why am I not keeping track of these things here? Is there on the other side of that a letter from Paige? She suggests that we ask them for a new bid.
Barrington Solar.
But she put it into, here it is. She sent me this email. I'm just curious, if the board approves this funding, do you need to run another RFP or bid according to your bylaws, etc.? If so, I would recommend asking the board for a waiver to save time. Minuting meetings would need to be put on record here with us. Is that clear? Because the language is
I think
not.
part of the problem, and if you don't mind, so
No.
part of the
Yeah.
problem is, as we've discussed, we can't sign a contract contingent upon a vote.
Yeah, but they are
I know what they want.
allowing us
But
to
you-
do that.
In all the years I've been here, we've never signed a contract contingent on town vote. Plus, when you go to town vote, you're gonna want an accurate number. So your RFP, and they're only good for 30 days, most of them, you're gonna have to get a new number from them about, I would say, the end of the year, December, January, to get a new quote. I mean, as I said to her before, all I could do was tell her we'll put a warrant article on.
Mhm.
I don't think
Would that be
signing
good
a
enough to hold the
contract-
money?
What's that?
Will that be good enough for them to hold the money for us?
I don't know. I mean, this came about at the end because somebody else didn't have money. That's why we're
Yep.
here.
We got the grant because it fell past. Somebody else had
Somebody
structure
else
didn't pass.
wasn't able to get the funding, so we were next in line.
So we don't know what it takes for us to commit it, do we?
I mean, if we can just commit to putting on a warrant article, we can't say how the town's
That's
gonna
what I-
vote, but with a dollar amount, we need to have an accurate dollar amount for the warrant.
So you'd want to ask for a new bid
Right.
from them, but if you could minute tonight that you intend to move forward in good faith, work out these, contingent on their giving you a new bid.
There's a little question here in my mind. Everybody talks about the 119, whatever it is, $119,000. for 42 panels. So when we put this bid out, is the bid not to exceed 119, whatever
Yes.
the number is?
Yes.
And 42 panels?
No, we
Because,
can it's not to exceed 119, doesn't matter how many panels.
well, I'm just saying, we need to have a firm dollar amount, because should this come in and they want an extra $10,000, we gotta make sure we're asking for what we can actually get the money to pay for.
And they are familiar with doing this, and in fact, it's mentioned in Paige's letter that Amherst went through this, so it could be that somebody on the Amherst Select Board could help us out, advising us how this was done and how it's working for them.
But I think they need to really secure that money so they don't go giving it out to somebody else. They need something from us saying that we,
You're gonna commit to putting a
in good
warrant
faith, we
on it.
intend to
Yeah.
put this on the warrant.
Yeah. And they won't come back with a bid for a higher dollar amount, but they may come with a bid with a lower number of panels. Yeah.
Because, I mean, the bid's gonna be a not to exceed, you know, the proposal is,
Just wanna make sure.
yeah.
Yeah.
That's what the grant's for.
Right.
And if it doesn't get passed at town meeting, it doesn't get passed at town
Then you
meeting.
don't, then you pass.
The money goes to another town at that
Then it
point.
goes to another
Yeah,
town,
we-
similar to that town.
So that's to limit our commitment to put it on the warrant.
That's all we can say.
I mean, that's all we can legally say, so
Yeah.
we don't know if that's gonna be enough for them though.
She seems to be saying so. And if you read that shaded section again, it clarifies it. Yeah, I just, I don't want to leave it on the table, saving us roughly 10,000 a year. We can use that money for something else.
Thanks, David. Any questions for anybody?
I don't have a question, but I've got a response to that. And I think it's quite feasible to do. I think you guys could go to the trustees of trust funds and ask for that money. And then you would lock that amount in, that 119,000 in, and you wouldn't have to go to the voters at all. I think, Naomi, you don't, do you agree with that?
Well, we do this,
I
commit it,
I don't know
If
how,
we
I
commit-
don't know how wealthy they are.
If we commit to at least put it on a warrant, and we can work with the trust fund trustees in the meantime, if that can come to fruition, then we can,
I'm just giving you an idea that,
yeah.
I mean, I know there's quite a lot of money that they are, I'm not saying they're millionaires,
which trust are we
billionaires.
going after?
Huh?
Which trust are you recommending?
Well, last time I looked, I think Emma Sawyer had over 100 and something thousand. And then you've got, there's other trust funds there too. I haven't looked at all of the numbers yet. In fact, I haven't even seen something real recent, but I would, even if you had to pull it from two different,
I'll take the action to go and ferret out the funding.
yeah.
But I think they just need our commitment at this
But-
point
yeah.
that we're gonna put it on the warrant, if the trust funds don't pan out.
Yeah, I think that somewhere you can get that 119,000.
Okay.
Anybody else? So do we want to, make a motion to,
You
Say we'll
can,
put this on a
as long
warrant?
as you're gonna commit to it.
I mean, all we can commit to is that we'll put it on the warrant.
That's not- If you wanna make a motion and,
That way it's as official as we can make it at this point.
Second.
You
You
want,
want to make the motion?
Oh, I thought you made it.
No.
I was gonna say, do you want,
Can I add one more thing?
absolutely.
Do you want to put in this same minute that you would request them to give us an updated bid in
This is
January?
good, because we need to have it for January. I mean, it's nice to ask,
usually
but
bids are only good for 30 days.
as far as the town is concerned, you mean?
Well, usually anybody.
When
won't
someone
move-
gives you a bid,
won't
they
move
say
the
they're good for
price,
30 days.
Because they don't know what the price of materials is gonna be.
Talking with Ted Van Zandt as my contact at Barrington Solar, he said last fall, if we had known we could come up with borrowing the money, they were willing after 7 or 8 months to stick with the same price. So they may be willing to hold out longer.
It's still a maybe though. still don't know for sure if they hold to that price.
Right.
That's the problem.
So, do we have a motion?
Somebody wanna make a motion?
I haven't heard a motion yet.
I move we put the right, we put, what is it called? What's the official name of this?
To commit to putting an article in the 2026 warrant for solar.
Commit we put a 2026 article solar on the DPW garage.
Safety
not to-
complex.
Safety complex, not to exceed 119,000, what's the measure?
640.
640?
Mhm.
Okay.
Second, anybody second?
Second.
Second by James, all in favor?
Aye.
Yes.
No,
Yes, yes. Opposed? Abstentions? Okay.
Next one's all
I'm going to swap around the agenda a little bit. We're gonna do the horse sheds next.
Sherry Burdick, Deering Center Road. So I sent you an email and told you that we did not have the extra money right now to put that in, but I felt that the town, it's a very small amount, it's 3.9% out of the total project, that maybe the town could come up with that 3.9%, which was $1,022, I believe. And that was one option. The other option is that I would go to the trustees of trust funds at their next meeting, I believe it's August 21st, and request the difference if the town doesn't want to put in the 3.9%.
Well, we can approve it tonight, I believe, contingent on you getting the extra money out of the trust funds.
So you're saying, Jack, that the town doesn't have 3.9%?
Or
Or
$180,
$1,000,
$1,800,
it's $1,022.
1,022.
what line would that come from?
General
Yep.
fund.
Well, you're on a default, so I don't know if
Build-
you can commit to taking out of
That's what I'm saying.
We've got a building maintenance fund, don't we?
You have a building maintenance one,
How much
yes.
is
How
that?
much is in there?
50.
I don't know what's in it right now. The last time I saw it was like 41,000.
Beth sent you guys an email on this attachment too. $40,637.17 as of July 31st. That's for every building here in town.
And that hasn't been plussed up for how long?
Nope, couple years. There hasn't been money added to that in a couple years.
He'd take something out of it because of we have a boiler problem or a generator problem or any kind of problem.
I'm just saying, covered all your buildings. You're also gonna run into a problem because the contractor may tell you his bid's no longer good in 2 days.
Who's that?
Contractor put 30 days on the bottom of his bid, which was July 15th, just like everybody else does. So I don't know what you.
I guess-
I've looked at that roof and it's in rough shape.
I have two. This work needs to get done. So I'm prepared to do a motion.
Okay.
I move that we take money to equal, was it $1,022?
And 52 cents.
62 cents.
52, I believe.
52.
No,
I don't have the, oh, wait a minute, I do have it right here.
Say up to
Yeah.
$123.
$1,022.52.
Tell me that again?
$1,022.52.
Okay. I move that we take $1,022.52 from the government building and maintenance line to add to the 25,000. And we then notify the bidder that the bid is accepted before we run out of that 30 days.
Do I hear a second?
Second.
Discussion? All in favor?
So just, the 25 is gonna come from the Historical Society, and then you're gonna pay the bill.
Right.
Is that a donation? Because the donation, you're gonna run into a public hearing for donation over $10,000 worth like.
So they're not gonna make the money then?
I'm just saying, we put it out to bid twice, we got one guy that came back, we're 3 days before it's due, and we're trying to figure out what we're doing and how we're gonna pay the bill. I
So-
realize it's
Is-
in tough shape, but if they're gonna give us the money, according to the RSA, it's over $10,000, you have to have a public hearing to accept that $25,000 to have the project done. So I can call him, tell him we're gonna award it, but it's contingent upon the public hearing and contingent upon him being able to do it, and prices haven't changed in 30 days. I don't have a problem calling him, just saying you've got some
Still
problems.
some work to do.
You've still got some problem with making it all work.
So, could we have the public hearing on the 25th? Is that the next meeting?
10-day notice,
10 days,
Yeah.
yeah.
Okay, so you're gonna ask him extension to
26th?
26? If he would, and he needs to send it in saying he will extend it.
So I'm going to withdraw the motion.
No, don't withdraw the motion. I think we just.
No,
gotta reword it.
I think I need to, because if he doesn't agree to this, then we've got a motion out there to accept $25,000.
No, we still need to have a public hearing.
No, he's saying if he makes.
My
a
motion
motion,
is
it's-
contingent on that 25,000.
That's not a bad idea, Ben.
I think we withdraw the motion.
Hold the meeting, afterwards, do your motion.
But we can, in the meantime, I can
Hold the hearing,
see it.
Yes,
He's
we
going
need
to.
the public hearing first.
hold the hearing,
Yeah,
and you do your motion.
then we can do the motion.
Okay.
So I withdraw that.
You okay with it?
I didn't second it.
No,
Okay,
Jack
well,
did.
Yeah,
Jack did.
good.
Motion withdrawn.
Withdraw the motion, hold the public hearing on the 25th. I'll reach out to see if they'll hold his price.
Mhm.
If he says no, there's no sense in a public hearing, correct?
Right, correct.
Then we've got nothing.
Right.
Just want to make sure that everybody's all set.
And then I think at that point, maybe what we should just do is wait and put it out in March. It's not gonna deteriorate during the winter months, because everything's gonna be frozen, pretty much. I just think you're not gonna get a lot of builders to be able to give you a bid now anyway. They're at the end of this, coming into the end of the season, and they've probably got plenty of jobs ahead of them.
Wait a minute, aren't we gonna award this bid?
You can't award it if the guy doesn't give you a 10-day grace
Oh,
period.
yeah, of course.
I'll see if he'll give you the grace.
Assuming the grace period.
Right.
And we have the hearing as positive, and Ben makes the motion,
Right,
he can go off and award the contract, right?
right.
On the 25th, if all the stars align.
26th, we can do this.
All right, so you're doing that on the 25th, I'll come back up.
Okay.
All right?
Now, we've got a requested warrant, requested agenda item from a citizen here.
Yes, Mr. Buck.
Mr. Butt,
Richard?
you're up.
Good evening. I'd like to have a discussion with the board regarding replacement of vehicles, specifically the police department and the highway department. Just briefly, before I go into what I consider the options that are available, I think one of the problems was the warrant last year. It was a disaster, pretty much. There were 14 appropriation articles. 11 of them failed. And 2 out of the 11 included the Highway Department and the Police Department. I don't understand why. It could have been other factors, the economy. It could have been the number of articles in the warrant. It seems as though there were articles in the warrant that put on there by the Police Department. They're all under $10,000. One of them was to a stipend, $3,000, I believe, to assign one of the officers as a detective. I don't want to make that decision for the police department. That's the decision the police department should make and the board should make. You know, the money should be available within that department. We're only talking $3,000 to do that. Unfortunately, when you put on the warrant and the voters vote on it and the voters say no, you can't do it. There are several other ones like that, including tasers and a few other things that were that should have been in the operating budget. I suspect the department may have been hedging their bet and knowing that maybe the operating budget wasn't going to pass, so they wanted these items to put them on as separate articles. They were small dollar amounts, thought they would pass, but they didn't. You know, an article for $3,000, I think that's probably the smallest amount I've ever seen on a warrant, failed. So that probably wasn't an economic decision. It was for some other reason. I think managing the warrant is the responsibility of the Board of Selectmen. It's your warrant, you signed off on it. And I think the fewer articles on there, you can focus what your priorities are, and maybe they have a better chance of passing. I don't know. You can interrupt me at any point in time. I just want to get into a discussion about it. But that many appropriation articles failed. It's sizable. I can't remember that many previously. So I listed about 5 options that are available. And some of those options are easy to implement, but maybe difficult to get approved. Now, I'll start with the easiest one first, and that is to include the vehicles in the operating budget. Put a line in the operating budget for the police department for a vehicle, and fully fund it, whatever that number is and whatever you think the number should be, to cover the majority of the cost for the next 5 years or so.
What do you mean? 4 cars each year?
There is a...
One car every year.
Okay, that's what I'm trying to figure out.
One car every year.
Right, yeah. So it's an annual expense. It kind of meets the requirements of an operating budget. I read an article by New Hampshire Municipal Association. They did talk about the justification for just that. If it's an annual expense, it can go into the operating budget. However, if you have a department that purchases a vehicle every 5 years, one every 5 years, that should be a separate article in the warrant. So I think it meets the qualifications. And the police department cost is maybe a little more acceptable, but we're also talking about the highway department, which is significantly more cost, upwards of over $200,000. It'd be a big hit in the operating budget, but if you put it in the operating budget, and the operating budget passes, basically you set it and forget it, because that money will be there every year, even if you get a default budget in future years. That's probably the one, maybe the most difficult to pass. However you frame all the other items in the operating budget without decreasing it to account for this additional cost, which is, you're probably looking at over $300,000 to bring that budget back in line with what it would be without those 2 items in there. It would be, it might be a hard swallow.
350.
350. Thank you, Jack. The other option is to include an item, a line item in the operating budget. If there is no line in the operating budget for a vehicle, even at year end, if you had $400,000, you can't buy a vehicle. There's got to be a line in the budget to support that, transfer that money into that line for that expenditure.
So even if the line is only $1.
That's what you would do. You put a line in the budget to save that line, you have to put a buck in there. So you put $2, increase the budget by $2 for those two vehicles. And at the end of the year, if you have money left over in surplus, if, it's a big if,
I don't think that's entirely accurate.
okay?
The law has recently changed, and if you don't have the amount in the line item that you need, you cannot move funds from another line to fill that.
Really?
Yeah.
I thought the board, I know, when I was a selectman, I thought until
This law,
recently,
this just passed.
are you saying like in the past
They should
6
sign
months?
it. You gonna sign it?
Well, it affected me, so I know that it's now law, because I was scheduled for a training from the police department for animal control. There was $500 in the line item for training. The training was 600 something, and they could not move money from any other section of my budget
Wow.
into that account for me to go to the training. So I had to not go to the training this year. It's because of the law.
That's a pretty
It's
restrictive
changed.
law. I mean, that takes the bottom line responsibility away from the Board of Selectmen. You can't move money around.
It-
It's a killer.
How I see it is
You know the bill that was signed?
I don't know the bill number. I didn't look into it after that. I had other things going on that, I didn't go to the training, so, all right, fine, I'll move on and do something else. But I was told that the law had changed recently and that money was not allowed to be put in. So we may want to look into that. You may not be able to move money like that,
That definitely
like
handcuffs
you
the
used
board.
to. Now,
And the
I
department.
can see the logic behind it as far as accounting and making sure that you budget enough in line items. But I do see your point where it does hamstring you if you do have a little money left over from one part of your budget that you want to move into another part to do something. But as it was explained to me, the law changed and that was that.
Is this town aware?
Yeah.
That's amazing, because, I mean, with the default budget, you have lines that are overfunded, like this year, the fuel lines are overfunded, because it's a default budget. Default budget was higher than the proposed budget.
Mhm.
But then you have lines in the budget for liability insurance and things that increase substantially.
It-
How,
My point is, we need to look into that.
yeah, okay.
We can't just assume that that's going to be something that we can do.
So you were notified by our police department of that?
Yep, I told them, hey,
Some
I want to go to this
legislation.
training that I go to every year. Okay, oh, it's this much this year, okay, we'll just move some money.
Yeah.
And then, whoa, can't do that.
There was a bill addressing budgets. I didn't think it was signed yet.
Well,
Yeah, like I said,
it
you need,
affected me in July, so.
need to look
I don't know
into
if
that, I guess. It's scary. That is really scary. It should be for the board and department heads. Anyway, that's an option. Maybe that's off the table. But it's been done before. It's been tried before. It never succeeded. The other option is to create a police department capital reserve fund for vehicle replacement. Funded, and this is the big change, funded through year-end surplus or other revenue streams such as the Clough State Park, the dam control reimbursement that we get, and special details work done by the police department. The highway department's got to be treated separately. They don't have a source of revenue, as far as I know, that they can use. But within the police department, they do have some revenue. And currently, the amount of money they have in there for the detail work is about $47,000. That's because they applied that revenue last year to help offset the cost of the cruiser but that article didn't pass, so that money stays and carries over to this year's. It's not encumbered. So they have $47,000 currently, and they have just over $3,000 for the, I'm sorry, that was for detail work. I might have said that wrong. $47,000 for detail work, and they have just over $3,000 for the Everett Dam service that they provide. So they got roughly $50,000 available to them to use for a cruiser. It's not going to purchase the cruiser, but a portion of that can be used to offset a cruiser.
What's the value of the revenue streams you're talking about, like the clough and whatever else, roughly a year?
All I have is a number, $3,191 for this year, what they currently have in that account. Now, that account isn't used for anything else, so I guess you'd have to combine that
So
to
is that
last
each
year.
year
So
or
it's
just-
not a lot of money.
That 3,000 each year, or just?
I don't think so, because that $3,191 includes last year.
Thank you.
So we're well 7 months into this year, so probably $1,500 to $1,800 a year.
How much detail work do they normally get? Did you have that number?
Well, we gotta-
Detail work?
Yeah, well, I believe it varies. With public service doing the work they did on the lines, they had a busy year. But I think it's roughly 18 to 20, but it varies depending on, like I was told tonight, that it's starting to, the only thing left is to, I think, remove the poles. They might have to do some, I think they're moving wires onto the newer pole, but, yeah, so there'll be some work this year, but this is a very unusual year for the police department in terms of detail work. So you can't, that's not consistent, you can't count on it. But the money's there and it can be used as an offset. Ideally, I think we would all like to see money that's available every year. If it's in the operating budget gets approved, it's done.
Well, until the price of the vehicle goes up.
Well, that's what I was saying. I think you need to look at what the cost would be, and then you can still use that money and maybe use some offsets from surplus if you have surplus. Yeah. Well, if the cost goes up, then all you do is add more money into the operating budget next year and hope it passes. But at least you're gonna have a base amount in there that may be substantial enough to purchase a vehicle. I'm thinking this year you need to get 2 vehicles to get that plan back in place. The cost of vehicle maintenance has gone up in the police department, and we're putting good money into a bad situation.
Same thing with
I
DPW.
mean, if I got a 15-year-old car and I'm putting $5,000 a year into it for maintenance, I'm pretty dumb, stupid thing to do. So
DPW is in the same situation.
their line has gone up, I think, 36%.
We ain't done yet. We're not done yet.
No, I know not true. Yeah. So, and then create a separate one for the police department. We're talking about capital reserve fund funded from surplus. And whatever the board would decide to put in there. That's allowed, the school does it. School does have an article in their warrant that is funded through surplus. I think they cap it at a certain amount. Police department has a couple of other accounts, so you'd have to just work out the way to transfer that money, because the detail work stays in their operating budget somewhere. There isn't a fund for that, but, and move that money into the capital reserve fund. I'm sure there's a way to do it. The highway department, again, it would seem like the only opportunity they have to squirrel money away is through surplus, which is no guarantee you're going to have surplus every year. Once you create those funds, if those funds are funded through surplus, then you can deal with that on an annual basis,
If you have surplus.
if you have surplus. Yep.
But the article with surplus, I think, has to appear every year on the warrant.
Oh, it does?
Yeah, if you notice the school one, every year, they have to put it on there, because it's like a one-time So it says a percentage, it's on one of the last articles.
Yeah,
It
yeah.
does have a percentage of the
There's no tax impact though, right?
undesignated fund balance, right? But if every year you see it when they want to use some of it to go into the capital reserve fund.
They don't have to identify what they're using it for, do they?
Say it again?
Do they have to identify what they're using it for?
No, it just goes into the government, the roofs or.
Yeah. And every one of these things, options, the Board of Selectmen would be the agents to expend. Makes it a lot easier to get the things done. The other one, the fourth one, and there's a fifth one, but the fourth one is to create a capital improvement capital reserve fund. It's a big umbrella that would take money from whatever revenue sources you have available and/or surplus and put it into this fund to be distributed by the Board of Selectmen based on need.
This would be part of the CIP. This would be part of the CIP.
Well, I think CIP is an integral part in determining what needs to be purchased.
Right, but then the CIP would determine the amount of funds to go into that capital reserve fund.
I don't know. I don't know how you would do that. I think the CIP would certainly indicate to the board
What they think needs to go in there.
what needs to go on there, and the board would ultimately make the decision just like it is now.
Right.
So, yeah, and I think the CIP is an important piece of this, because the CIP, I don't know if it goes out 7 years, but it certainly goes out at least 5 years, probably 7. So you can see what's coming down the pipe in the next 5 or 7 years, and you can determine whether or not you're going to have enough money in there, and what the revenue sources are, if they're reliable, will be in there at any point in time. But,
For this one to really be effective, you would have to redo the special revenue fund for the fire rescue.
if you're going to include the fire department, if you were going to include the fire department revenue, yeah. It would be massive. And it happened one year in the fire department with Chief Vizina. One year, he had at least 7 articles on that warrant, and some of them were eliminating capital reserve funds, creating new ones. Every single one passed. Amazing. And this would be very similar.
Well, what you're doing is, you're taking the flush revenue stream, which is the ambulance billing, and putting it into a general account instead of for the benefit of the fire department.
Putting it into account that the Board of Selectmen can
That's
manage.
what I'm saying, yeah.
Yeah.
I just,
I'm not saying flush. You said flush.
well, let's
So-
put it this way. Some people think there's a lot more money in that revenue stream. There's gonna be billions of dollars. It's, with the price of the truck going up 25% in 1 year, and staring down the face of another ambulance in a few years. Be interested to see if we make the numbers. Okay?
How much is the ambulance gonna cost? I mean, you're looking at half a million,
600, I think.
600?
600,000?
Yeah.
We also leased, purchased ambulances.
Yeah, but you're just spreading it over years.
Yeah.
That's a different issue. you're
But they don't
still-
need them as often. I mean, that's a big,
Kind of depends on
big
what's behind
number.
it, and what we're gonna need behind it, you know? If we don't need anything for 10 years behind it, maybe there's an option. If not, if we need something sooner, then
This will be a better discussion once we understand what the new billing will yield for,
absolutely.
Yeah.
which is out a year and a half, 2 years.
Yeah, the fire department is a house on the hill. The other departments are in the valley somewhere, struggling to get money to purchase things that are needed.
Transfer station is sort of similar, where they have the recyclables go into a special, half of it. So as an example of that too, for the benefit of the transfer station.
Right. And the fifth option is not do anything. Just leave it the way it is.
Oh.
Just go with what we have and hope for the best. And I think that's the less likely, the less desirable option, because while the police chief and the public works, I've seen the police chief's projection over 5 years and what their plan is. They have a great website, a lot of information on there, identifies the vehicles, the mileage on the vehicles, road mileage and engine mileage, and when things need to be replaced, and then the types of vehicles that are available. I'm assuming they did that, the highway department did it for the CIP. It's just not available online. I couldn't get into that to see what his plan, but I believe there is a plan for the highway department. And I thought at one time it was to replace a vehicle every year. And I don't know over what period of time.
The 5 frontline vehicles, they need 5 frontline vehicles in service repair. And then they have 2 administrative vehicles. And what they do is they pass one of those service down each year. So you pop it down, if you will. But you need a 7-year cycle.
Yeah,
Now the highway department is on a technically 11-year cycle for their big trucks. And the problem is, if you look at our history, capital assets are done very sporadically, not when they're needed, but when they can get passed.
yeah.
And unfortunately, a new truck is $280,000. We could have bought those trucks for $200,000 years ago. But what we do is we kick the can, inflation hits. And that's the same thing with the police cruiser. It's almost double. So we're not saving any money in the long run. Unfortunately, we're affecting the service delivery on these departments for the reliability of the capital assets.
Police department, safety, reliability, safety of the public, safety of the offices, highway department's services. And we all use the highway department services. Typically, the highway department articles get approved. It's a shock that it didn't get approved this year. The police department's always it always seems to be a harder sell for the police department. And one of the problems, I believe, is perception. When I was a selectman, we had issues over in the police department, and they were very public. We were getting sued by the public, and the town was getting sued by police officers. That went on for years. It got to the point where we had to hire an outside agency to come in and kind of go in and do an investigation. And it wasn't pretty. And we published the results of that investigation online. There were years and years that was just on the surface, and I think a lot of people still remember that, and I think that's the perception part. They think that's what it is today. And I have to say, I was going to say it a public comment, I didn't get up though, is that, a little off subject, but Chief Moore came on board in 2019, and I attended one of his public meetings, meet and greet, and there were very thankful and welcoming him in, and happy to have him, and I said, it came to me, I said, yeah, I'm happy to be here, but I'm going to withhold judgment for at least 5 years, because I've seen what happened, including at that level, at the police chief's level. The last police chief we had before this one. It was embarrassing to him and embarrassing to the town what happened. And here we are 5 years later, and I'm looking from the outside in. I'm not going to privy to all the information, but it would appear that he's done a great job. I haven't heard of any lawsuits against the town or a lot of dissension within the ranks. So, and coming in from where he wasn't a chief, from a completely different situation, coming in here, taking over and doing the job he's done. I haven't agreed with everything he's done, but it seems like the department is running smoothly and efficiently. I just wanted to throw that in there. But one of the other things when it comes to perception or influence is the Finance Committee. And there are a lot of people really disappointed with the comments by the Finance Committee. I'm just going to talk about the one for the 10-wheel dump truck. The Finance Committee feels that the town could wait a year before purchasing another plow truck. Now, I don't know how many people on the Finance Committee actually can change the oil in their vehicles. Never mind making determinations as to whether or not a truck that's been determined by the Public Works Director should be retired and be replaced. I mean, we have to have faith in our department heads until they prove us wrong, right? And as far as I'm concerned, neither one of those two department heads, police and highway, have done that. But that's not, to me, a justifiable reason. But at the deliberative session, at the time, none of the board members questioned or asked them to clarify that, and what are you basing that information on? That's part of the pushback. We've been very complacent, sitting back and letting people get up and say things, and that could have affected some people, I don't know. And the other thing they mentioned regarding the highway truck, one of the reasons why they didn't recommend it was because there's no offsetting funds on that warrant article, like there was last year in '24. I think if there's an attempt made to offset, then I think it may influence the voters under the current system. But I don't know why the Board of Selectmen did not support amendments last year for the police department to totally offset the cost of that cruiser and have a zero tax impact. It was done the year before. There's an amendment made at the deliberative session to do just that, and they got their cruiser. This year, it failed by 2 or 3 votes, and they didn't get their cruiser. I want them to get their cruiser. However we get to that means to do that is something the board's going to have to discuss and wrestle with, but I would ask the board to do it sooner rather than later. You don't want to get to a public hearing on the budget in January, a couple weeks before the deliberative session, and not know what's going on, and not have a firm commitment to an article in the warrant, have dissension as to whether we should do this or do that, and not be able to explain why the article is on the warrant. I mean, at that point in time, you want to show confidence, and you want to let the people see that you're confident in what's being presented, and what's being presented is your priority. Assigning a police officer as a detective is not a priority. That's something that should have been done. There are 2 or 3 other things in there. I think there were 5. 3 of those were, I don't know, they shouldn't have been on the warrant. You're responsible for it. I think that should not have gone on the warrant. And at some point, voter fatigue may set in and say, look, you want me to make these types of decisions? I'm not going to support anything. I don't know. I'm just throwing that out there. But something needs to happen. Because right now, we're 2 years behind the police department. If we go another year, we're putting services, both highway and police department, in jeopardy. And we currently have the 5% minimum required by DRA in unreserved, undesignated fund balances, $1.7 million. That's what the 5% represents for the town of Ware, 1.7 million. These are educated guesses, not by me, but somebody else. And we have approximately we have almost $400,000 over that amount, a little bit, $20,000 less. So about $380,000 is in that fund, over the 5%. And some of that you may, in October, decide to use that to offset taxes, which would be great. But at the end of the year, you're going to probably have a surplus. How much? I don't know. But at that point in time, you need to make a decision as to what you're going to do with that money. Are you going to support those things that are your priority? Are we going to support the 5 or 10 things that people come in at the end of the year, department heads do? I'd like to do this, I'd like to have this done. I'm not saying they're not necessary, but I think last year we probably spent close to over $100,000 out of the surplus to support some of those requests. And as far as I know, $0 to offset an article of things that are absolutely needed. So, where's the priority on the part of the board? So that's all I wanted to do was, I would hope the board could, smarter than me, I've been on a bunch of committees, Finance Committee, Selectmen, Planning Board, CIP, and I wasn't the smartest person on any of those boards, but I did just because I was there, absorb some stuff. That's my perspective in terms of presenting this. The departments need the vehicles. This isn't a knee-jerk reaction. These are plans that have been put in place for years. And you interrupt a plan and it causes some problems. It'd be nice to put something in place where you but that money's always going to be there. And the only way to do that is, in my opinion, is to put it in the operating budget. That's a big pill to swallow. It will be. The easiest thing to do for the board, but I think it might be difficult for the public to accept.
Thank you.
Thank you. I certainly appreciate the effort that you've gone through to come up with some different items for us to think
Mm-hmm.
about. Haven't had a lot of time to think about it. I will say that a lot of this depends on what the voters come back with. Because just about every one of them is going to require a vote of some sort, whether it's on the budget, whether we put a line in the budget, they're going to have to vote on that. So we're still relying on voters to determine things. There are a lot of voters that don't appreciate having special revenue funds or special specific funds. And my initial assessment would be that a general capital improvement fund like that would encompass all of the extra revenues that are coming in, yes, it's for capital improvement, but it's still outside of the voter control. And I'm just afraid that something like that would very much look like just a slush fund for the board to spend as they see fit, if there isn't any. So we're balancing, we are trying to balance as best we can what voters want versus what the town needs. I don't know. I can say that what we've been doing hasn't been 100% effective. I don't know if any of these are going to be necessarily better. They're certainly different. I'll grant you that.
Yeah, conventional thinking, I was there. I want to put my vote down for everything. Cards, whatever it happened to be. And there was always a concern about one big fund. But it is the most effective way to do it for the board, to manage that money and to assign the money to satisfy a need. I'm always in support of getting the voters. I'm going to leave now. So, getting the voter to being able to approve something, but there's some things that are absolutely needed. And if they're incorporated in the operating budget, then the voters kind of tacitly endorsed it, and off you go. Thanks.
Thanks.
But before you go, I do want to ease your mind on that point that I had made earlier. So I went for the training the second week in July, and that, what I told you that you couldn't move money, was vetoed on the 15th of July. So it was in limbo.
It was House Bill 475.
Yeah,
Oh, good.
475.
Finally.
But it did have, I remembered it at the very bottom, it had to do with the default budget. And then at the very bottom, it put in that you couldn't switch things around. And I slid it over to him, and it was all in timing because it was ready to be signed. It was approved to go forward, but she vetoed it on the 15th.
I didn't think she signed
Yeah,
it.
so that's what he said. He applied to go to this training, but
Yeah, yeah.
there was been no decision of signing or no signing. But she vetoed it 2 weeks later, so he still couldn't do his training because the chief wouldn't move it
Oh.
because of the House bill.
Yeah.
And not just that, but the training wasn't until, I think, the 22nd.
Oh, yeah.
So there was that time period where, so
That's good news.
Yeah.
Thanks.
you're welcome.
Okay, moving on, now we've got to review the RFP proposal for the building permit software. It's,
Hand out for that, or
I do, I brought a couple copies.
5?
I emailed it all to you.
Doesn't mean I printed it.
Okay.
Yeah, I
If
printed
you
out,
guys ever want some printed, just let me know.
I printed out 2
I try to
copies.
print things,
I'll take a
but
copy.
then some of you show up with printed out of the waste.
That's all you got?
That's all I got, Jack.
I have one. You can
Why
have-
can't we just get printouts at the meeting?
Well, I know that now, but I didn't know that. Some bring their own printouts.
I don't.
I'll know that from now on that you don't. I think this was passed around a little bit before. There's been some changes on it.
You got a copy?
So there's, I'm sure I have it, it's just a question of where it is.
No, we can share.
We can take a look.
Did you re-look at it after the few changes first?
No, actually I did.
Well, she
As soon-
left them in there.
Yeah, as soon as, yeah, I looked at them right away, but I haven't looked at it since. One thing I had to change on this was, bid proposals, bid decisions were made on August 21st. The way the selectmen have the right to thoroughly review all proposals and postpone a decision until a later scheduled meeting. Because we need to come up with funding for this, and until we have the proposals, we don't know how much we need funding for. So that's,
Is it more than 30 days now?
it just says,
Most of them are 30 days.
it says postpone decisions until a later scheduled meeting. It doesn't, there's
But
no,
didn't you put a no?
I don't-
Did you specify 30 days later?
no. And my whole reason for doing this is, I mean, the employees in this town hall boils down to an employee per 1,000 residents. The town to south of us has 2 employees per 1,000 residents. I don't want to get to that point. And if we can get technology working for us across the board, tie departments together, so everybody knows what's going on, then we're not gonna need to blow up our government worker base like that. It's a lot easier to contain the workflow with the staff we've got, instead of having to bring in more.
And they've been constrained, so.
Right.
The other issue is people leave, you have to go through extensive retraining on the databases, physical assets.
And we've already got, as I told you last time, there's 4 people that have expressed interest, they're just waiting for you to get that sent to them, we can send it to one.
Yeah,
If you're okay with it, we'll just take out the strike through or whatever.
Yep.
Who wrote the RFC?
That looks like something Beth.
Yeah, Beth put it together.
She wrote all this?
Well, she put it together from some other, yeah.
Okay, makes sense.
She didn't write it from scratch. She,
It looks somewhat similar to, yeah, pretty close,
yeah.
but she did that.
One of the companies we're using already at the DPW.
Yeah. I think maybe we can extend that if we pick that.
Right.
Would that, we have to buy another license, or is that considered a town?
It's usually, they have modules. Right now, we're using the module that applies to the DPWs, but they have modules for the rest of the departments too. Now,
So
whether,
it could be just another module.
Sometimes it's a user license.
yeah.
To be honest with you, when I saw this, I was a little surprised we don't already have a system in place.
We have a system, it's not very good.
Well, we don't have one for permitting.
We don't have the permitting.
Well,
Beth has
we
an
don't-
accounting system
Please.
and we have a
we don't-
DPW
we-
system.
We don't have an electronic system, but we have a system.
Yeah, it involves a lot of paper.
What I meant was a software system that is database-driven and cross-referenced.
Yeah,
It's searchable and indexable.
yeah.
That's something that,
We're,
it's 2025.
have you seen the file cabinets?
Yeah, I've seen them.
Will our existing hardware support this, or we have to?
Yes, no, it's all cloud-based, so we won't need to buy any hardware.
You can do it all on your phone.
Right.
There's an app. There's probably an app.
Oh,
Yeah.
I'm sure there is.
But this will allow residents, contractors, everybody to apply for permits at midnight, pay for things at midnight. I mean, that's the whole, to get, it takes the, it takes the excuse I didn't have time to do it out of the way.
You have a feel for how much it's gonna cost? Just 50,000, 30,000?
There's a couple companies that, I mean, we've got 4, I think, that have expressed interest in doing it, and I've looked into a couple of them, and I think we're gonna see numbers from here to here. And at that point, then, I've told Beth, they're all willing to come down here and walk through it and show you what their system can do.
Do you know of any towns that have a system like this?
Yep,
So we can go,
Bo has one, Auburn has one, 2 different ones,
I mean,
If it's those guys that are gonna bid, right?
yeah.
We did that when we did the, it's been several years, but when we did the website, we had them come down and let them put it up there and showed us, what it did for us. And we all sat in the room and watched it, and everybody else could too, but they showed you, they each got to show you how it integrated and how it worked. And that's where we ended up with the Civic Plus that we have for the, it was very user-friendly, which was a concern, for the website, so, and everybody's pretty much adapted to use it, but, you can always invite them down to do a demonstration.
And our assessing company has a system too,
Yeah.
so that's the 4th one.
do they own it or they build on somebody else's?
No, they won't.
So they will give us a license for that?
Yeah.
Yeah, and that would tie into your assessing.
So, I mean, so we've got partial 2 systems that are already using. And then there's two other ones. So it's a good cross-section, I think, of,
So will this be you think it'll be an annual
I'm
license
sure there's an
fee
annual subscription. Yeah, they all run annual
with
subscriptions.
some initial non-recurring
There's gonna be an initial
engineering?
outlay, it's got, initially too, it's gonna take a lot of, data entry.
That's another problem.
Because if we wanna get like the last year's
Last 5
data
years.
in there, whatever, to get up and running faster.
We have it on paper.
Scan.
Yeah,
Have it on paper.
yeah.
All
So-
that optical character recognition is possible, but
Yeah.
I can make sure everything
Yeah.
is set up just right.
Doesn't hurt to ask.
No, exactly.
So the plan would, if you're okay with what you've seen in front of you, the plan would be that you would be okay with it, correct or take out whatever the strike-through is, and we would solicit it for them to be into us, and that works, so that you could look at them on the 25th initially.
And they turn them around that fast?
10 days. There we
Yeah,
are.
I mean, their systems have got developed, they're not
Yeah.
building something from scratch.
But that's why we need to move, so that the next meeting, you guys could do it without skipping a beat.
You know, I don't know if it said it in there, but it'd be nice to say other facilities using it.
Yeah, I didn't check, is it on there, references?
I don't remember. Well, it's
Yeah, I think
reference
it did, yeah,
Yes,
it's-
it does say that.
Yep.
other implementations.
I mean, the ones we've identified, that she's sending them out, I mean, I know of at least one town using each of them.
Yeah, but you should have those people on their response.
Oh, yeah,
tell us.
it's in here, yeah, they will.
So is the only strikeout on the first page?
I think that's all I saw.
I think so.
It's easy enough to do and then post it in the morning.
Yep.
Or you send it out to those 4 in the morning.
4 in the morning.
4 in the morning.
So if the board's okay with that? we
Yeah, the consensus, are you okay with that?
can- Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Need a motion or anything?
Nope. The consensus is to put out, move forward.
Need that back?
I don't remember. There was a couple things I sent you as far as a draft, public participation. I took the town of Enfield, Rumney, sorry. Town of Rumney, and I just threw draft through the middle. I did notice there was some spelling when I put it in there, but again, if you guys, there was an email that Jack didn't mean to reply to all, but he also suggested that the draft be reviewed by town attorney, and I've not done that.
He's already given us an advice on another one,
Right.
and he said he'd be happy to do anything we want, review it. So even though this comes from the New Hampshire Municipal Association, apparently it's been appropriately tested, we should have our guy look at this anyways. It shouldn't take very long,
Nope.
one page, and see if he can recommend some changes.
I think that's, we need to do that. I mean, this is a,
Why would we not do that?
no, I mean, we have to do that. This is gonna be a hot topic.
One of the questions I have is what are our options for enforcing any policy? that
The
we-
chair has to take, or the board has to enforce the chair to take the initiative to do it. Period. If the board sits here, sucking their thumb and doesn't want to do anything, nothing happens. Or it just runs amok. So,
It's like any policy. I mean, it's
the
really,
bottom line.
any policy the board's adopted, there's no law that says they have to do it, other than it's a policy.
Yeah, well, there's one that, has been waived in certain instances too, like your purchasing policy is, you can waive that. There's been some other board members got on boards without having to go to the meeting first because we were in a mess, and so they put them on without going to that meeting, so there's sections of their policies or your policies. But I think, if I'm not mistaken, this kind of comes about as far as, I'll use the word polite. You know, we can respectfully disagree with each other, but
Civility.
respectfully is a word. Any one of you can stop anybody at any time from not being civil. I understand freedom of speech, I understand that. But I think should be some civil discourse with a lot of conversation. And we can listen to it, but the shouting and the pointing and the name calling, that's a turn off, and I just don't think it's right. But I think this wouldn't deter any of you from speaking up if somebody's not paying attention. I mean, you could have raised an objection. But it's just, if you, and a lot of it encourages people to get put on the agenda like Dick, so you can have a conversation and you know he's coming in. You're not blindsided. I think that was part of some of the conversation.
I mean, Dick came in at the last meeting and, got the public comment, and we had a discussion with him. I mean, if somebody comes up and has a civil discussion, I mean, I don't think the board has a problem discussing it back. I mean, but
Sometimes it can involve, if you can answer it right there, answer it. Saves it for next time.
just because
Saves an
the
email next day.
stance has been, we just sit and listen, don't do anything. I mean, that's not,
But if it takes looking something up so that you don't state something inaccurately, then we can do that too. Because there was some thought that we used to take public comment, and if you get answered, you answered it. If not, we took it up at the next meeting because research was done. There's a whole bunch of different ways of handling it, and I think Jack submitted, said it eloquently. It's all about civility. All you do is be civil. We can respectfully disagree with each other, and that's fine. But it's a civil tone. It doesn't increase your viewership if you get nasty over it.
No, I was just specifically thinking about what are our enforcement of the policy. If somebody gets up and starts saying something X, Y, Z, is it literally standing up and saying, "You, sir, have no decency," or is it,
That's what's said.
Yeah,
Policy dispute, maybe fair game. If they're,
no, I think you're more of a personal attack. Is that what you're after?
something to that effect, yeah.
well, it's up to the board collectively or individually to raise a point of order and say, hey, this is off the reservation.
Right.
And if the board
You
is
can do
not
that,
willing
but
to
if
do
the
that-
person wants to continue, I think that's his point. What is our
There's a
enforcement?
process, you can ask the attorney.
Right, I think some places don't they have the police who remove them or something.
Yeah. Ask them to sit down.
That's the
somebody-
last case.
Sure, if somebody comes in and is, hooting and hollering and being physical, we might have to call, but I think 8% of our town residents are pretty, easygoing when they come, we've only had a couple of instances, where there's an issue. So that's what I'm questioning, when somebody stands up and they say something and, it's out there, it's said, now what?
The problem is you can't unring the bell, right?
You try to catch it as early as you do in the
Try to catch it.
conversation,
And, because what else are you gonna do? Other than abstain from any public input except a public hearing. So, if we're gonna be moderating the discussion, we should have a policy in place that's simple to read, understand, and the board is liable to implement that at their judgment. That's all we're asking for, and all we're asking tonight is for the board to allow that to be sent for comment from our, this is basically drawn up by the Municipal Association,
Yeah.
I understand. And, of course, every lawyer wants to put their own little thing on it.
Oh, yeah.
So I'm in favor of sending to the lawyer and see if they have any comments.
I don't need a motion, just as long as you.
Seems reasonable.
Okay?
Yeah, that's fine.
Administrator's report, I do have a, send down there, takes 5 of you, there's a, we had someone repurchase their property that we had done in tax deed. So I'm just gonna pass down, just needs the back sheet, clean copy. She printed me 2 in case you make a mistake.
Of course.
That's just, a homeowner can always buy back, the direct person can buy
So
back.
we need to sign this or anything?
Yeah, on the second sheet, and I'll continue on because you don't need to make a motion. I'm just gonna drop down a couple things on that sheet. As I told you before, I like to keep the agenda items on there. So the Energy Commission, we've got our follow-up as far as that, to follow up with the state. Discussion with CIP, we've got some things to think about when it comes to budget season. Sherry, about the horse shed, we know what to do. We've done the finalization, we've done that. So just to let you know, we did have the second public hearing Thursday night, August 7th at 6 o'clock at the town office for the second public hearing for input on the River Road Bridge, and we had no takers. It was just me and the engineer here. So, that's all right. We did what we did. We haven't heard whether the state's gonna make us try to do one more, but it's okay.
But we think we have enough money to cover our side of it?
Tree,
It's been 7 years, right?
So, one of the emails I sent out to you came from the Cemetery Advisory Committee. They had sent one in June, and we're waiting on a 3rd quote, because typically we try to do 3 quotes. We have still not heard back from a 3rd person. They provided us with 2, and they provided us with a recommendation to award the tree removal to A-Bear Tree Service. A-Bear Tree Service for the amount of,
2,200 or something like that.
$2,200 for both jobs. The other quote they got was $3,200 for both jobs. And if you looked at what I forwarded to you, Mike did a really nice job of how $3,500 was spent. Out of that $35,000, we've already earmarked $30,600 to do the oil mill cemeteries, so this would get us closer to the 35 that's approved at town meeting. So you guys are the, really the cemetery trustees, so you'd have to be the ones to make a motion to hire A-Bear to come out of the Cypre money.
You need a motion?
I do.
You want to make a motion?
Motion to hire a mayor to, Cypre money to remove trees in the cemetery?
It was in actually tree work in the Samuel Osborne and Worthley burying grounds, and headstone cleaning supplies, but that's a different one. So the tree work is for the Samuel Osborne and the Worthley burying grounds.
Samuel Osborne's and Worthley burying grounds.
Second that. Discussion? All in favor?
Did you want to include what the,
What's that?
From Cypre,
From Cypre, what was,
Cypre.
and what was the amount?
2,200. Yeah, I'm sorry. I know you were trying to get him to say it.
All in favor?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay.
Opposed, abstentions?
Thank you. Repurchase you did. I also told you, after 3 years, Monique has become certified as a tax collector. Therefore, I've been doing your interim tax collector for the last 3 years, and now she's certified. I would like to have you appoint her as your tax collector.
Does that need a
And you
motion?
need a motion.
Yeah,
Yeah. Someone want to make a motion? We appoint
I'd
Monique?
move that we appoint Monique Nelson as the tax collector.
Effective.
Immediately.
Yeah, effective immediately.
Second.
Discussion? Good job, Monique, thank you.
Yeah,
All in favor?
Yes.
yes.
Opposed, abstentions?
Oh, well done on spending 3 years doing
Well,
that.
it's, if you
Yeah.
look at it, the town clerk's is 4 years certification.
Even still.
So, and then I leave you on the bottom of that with some dates that we're gonna get started with. Unfortunately, we are running into, at the end of August, we're gonna run into fall. So fall starts CIP and budgets, so we've laid out a tentative schedule. If you're all, Jack's gonna be your representative for CIP. We're gonna meet Wednesday mornings, 8:30 at the office here. And you guys can attend if you want. If you're going to attend just to sit and listen, or if you're just gonna watch. If 3 of you show up here, I just need to, we're not making any motions, but if 3 of you by chance show up here, I need to post it. So, if one's gonna be.
I'll throw the third one out.
Well, it's gonna be on tape and stuff anyway, if anybody, so, and then the plan is that once they do CIP, they'll know going forward what they've got as of October 1st. October 1st will bring us a little bit closer to getting some numbers for, I'll call it salt and some of the other things, amenities. And then the proposed schedule we've laid out is, kind of where it's gonna go. Beth is gonna start you off, and then, we'll go through the budgets as I've listed there. So, just in the back of your mind, it's gonna get here before you know it, the end of August is almost here. So with that being said, I don't think I have anything more for you. I don't have anything more for you.
With budget season around the corner, I don't want the idea of new health insurance for
Yes.
the town to fall off of that.
Yep. Yeah, other communities are looking to, and, in October, I think we get the rate from Health Trust, so I don't know if we're waiting on, is there a, I don't know what it is, but yes, it was made up, I said last time that we've got it on others that are looking at it too.
I just, like to have enough time to announce to everybody that, what the plan might be if there is a new plan.
Yeah,
And everybody can have, a decent heads up on that. Not wait, oh, by the way, March 2nd, this is what's changing.
yeah, no, very, very well, but it has been, and Beth, I'm sure, is on top of all of that, so.
She probably is.
Everybody's got their budgets already in their mailbox asking them to work on them, so.
CIPs are out, aren't they?
Say that again?
CIP requests are out?
Yeah. Everything went out, the first group of 3 know what they need, so. And then there's a week in between, just because it's tough if you have to have second rounds the next week. So we skipped a week, and then we'll clean up with, the smaller ones and second rounds if needed. And then 10-1 is a Wednesday, we'll finalize with the whiteboard like we always used to.
I'm pleased to say that Denise Purington has offered, or agreed to either way, to be chair.
Oh.
It'll take a vote for the board, but, committee, but I think she'd be very good in her position.
Okay, that's perfect. That's all I have to offer you. Don't forget, please, we have a motion for the new hire.
Do that.
Are we going to do it now or after?
So there we go. So So we had this Morgan Halleck in for a on-call volunteer EMT position at the fire department. Got to make a motion to,
You can make that motion,
I can make it, okay. What was the start date? August 20th?
24th.
824,
That's what I thought.
$25.
Yeah, starting August 24th at $25 an hour with the normal 6-month probation period.
Second that,
All in favor?
Aye.
yes.
Aye. Opposed? Abstentions? Okay.
Thank you. Now you have a long manifest to read. Do you have a copy in front of you?
No. I don't think so.
I don't know, it's on. She usually puts it in front of the chair.
No, I didn't.
I didn't see it.
I say it's long because it's like this.
I have that one?
Yeah, you can, I just need it back down.
Yeah. I make a motion to order the secretary to sign the payroll and accounts, treasurer to sign the payroll and accounts payables checks dated August 14th, 2025, as included in the following manifest. Payroll manifest, $93,084.99, weekly payroll. Accounts payable manifest, $170,173.17. Supplemental accounts payable manifest, $1,064,806.00. That's for the fire engine. Ware School accounts payable manifest, $500,000. John Stack accounts payable manifest, $400,000, for a total of $2,228,064.16. The following manifest were previously ordered to sign at the July 28th, 25 Board of Selectmen meeting. Payroll manifest, $91,261.47. The check date of 8/07. Accounts payable manifest, $164,416.76. Check date of 8/07. As there is no selectmen's meeting scheduled for August 18th, please vote to order the treasurer to sign payroll checks dated August 21st, 2025, estimated to be about $90,000. Furthermore, to order the treasurer to sign up to the amount of $95,000 for accounts payables that cannot wait until the next scheduled meeting. Reports and actual check amounts will be reported to the Board of Selectmen by inclusion on the manifest memo at the next scheduled meeting.
Second?
All in favor?
Yes.
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 Aye.
Opposed? Abstentions?
Now you got minutes.
I read the minutes. I didn't print them out to bring with me.
You have one set.
Yep. For 7/28. Anybody have a chance to look at the minutes on 7/28?
I do not see any glaring mistakes.
Anybody want to make a motion regarding the minutes for July 28th?
Make a motion to accept the July 28th, 2025 Board of Selectmen meeting minutes as written.
Second,
All in favor?
Yes.
Aye. Opposed? Abstentions? Okay. Now, Selectmen Committee updates.
I don't know if anybody's met between.
no. Energy meets next week.
Yep, okay.
Wednesday.
You going to that?
Oh, yeah.
Okay, good, okay.
Wednesday is the conservation.
This week is conservation view, yeah.
Wednesday.
Wednesday night, 7 o'clock. Planning board's Thursday at 7 o'clock. He's next week,
Parks
Parks and Rec, same week he is. So see?
I want them off.
We get through that.
Yeah.
Perfect.
Next.
Correspondence and other business. Any emails from anybody or any?
I replied and shared with you the.
I saw that one.
Chip sealing one, was that all right?
Yeah,
Yes,
that was a very good description. Didn't it?
covered it.
There is something I'd like to, if it's appropriate at this point, bring up is, the barn, which is owned by the town, at least 99 years, I believe, to the Historical Society. The roof was old when they bought it. It was nailed down tight. Unfortunately, the boards they nailed into was pretty punky, and they probably used just galvanized sheet metal nails. And some of the sheets are blown off, which means water's getting in. And it probably needs a new roof. It probably can be patched up somehow with the existing, if they can find it on the ground. It's blown off. The sheets, it's a sheet metal roof. It's literally steel, rusty, but it's still shed water if it was put up there, and it would stay there. So the question is, we got a building, and the reason, if you go up and down 114, when I was a kid, there's a lot of big barns. The reason the barns are falling down is because they don't have a roof on them. So, I think we ought to, as a minimum, do we ask for bids? And just come up with some kind of an idea like a standing seam metal roof, which they may have to strap it with like 2x4s, 2x3s.
Yeah,
What barn are you talking about?
East Street, you know, East Street on the right,
By the cemetery.
past
Oh, yeah.
cemetery.
Yep,
Jock
okay,
Brown's old place.
okay,
on the right.
okay.
So, it's been, I think it's been almost like 7 years since, basically what happened was, Jock Brown wanted to sell this to the cemetery. And the way to fund that for the price was an expansion for future cemetery, because we have a cemetery. Some of the area, nobody really knows where anybody's buried. So that the remaining area, which we can manage, is getting smaller. So the question is, it was bought in anticipation of future growth, 25 acres, I think it was. It's got a considerable amount of sand there underneath the pine trees, and the barn came with it. And Cypre paid 50%, town got the money out, and the Mildred Hall Fund paid 50%. So the barn is for the use for 99 years for the Historical Society. But the problem is, it's leaking. So,
Well,
one or two things, we ought to figure out.
put an RFP together and get some pricing. I don't know if I'd do standing seam. Standing seam's kind of expensive. I mean, if you use real roof panels on it, not building lining material, they call it, or wall material, it'll last just as long as standing seam, and it's a lot less money.
What surface you talking about?
The roof.
Yeah, but I'm talking, well, what's your product other than,
It's called grand rib.
oh,
It's with the 3 ribs per panel, and it's not the standing seam with the clip together.
yeah. But you still need to, probably strap the roof.
Oh, yeah.
Strip
Yeah,
it.
It's the same base
And
install.
strap
Yeah.
Yeah. Then we'll figure out how we pay for it.
Mhm.
I think I'd like to go to the nonprofits, you know, the people with the money,
Mhm.
and see if they would consider, because,
But you need a price to put in front of them.
well, yeah, at least have a budgetary in place.
Right.
Because technically, it is allowed, given for the use of the Historical Society. And it's kind of goofy to let the thing fall apart.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
Or if there's artifacts stored in there that get wet. Right.
Well, yes, and that's, the issue is, a lot of people want to give artifacts, and there's only one place which is really outside storage down on the lower side, which is a new metal roof. That was a recent, probably not brand new, but recent, good repair. So, let me take the action to work with Beth
Okay.
and get that and see where we go. I'll try to contact the people who have the money, either trust fund or whatever,
Okay.
once I figure out how big it is, so. I'll take that action.
Anybody else? Okay. Tentative agenda for the,
Yeah, so basically all I have is we have a non-public for fire, for hire.
Mhm.
And I'm sorry if I didn't let you know it was 6:15, I was just trying to keep the agenda on for 6:30. So,
What date is this for?
on the 25th, I'd like to do a similar thing so that we can start the public meeting at 6:30. So at
Let me put that in,
6:15 on the 25th.
6:15 on the 25th.
It's another employee that he's bringing forward for the fire department. So it'd be 6:15 non-public, 6:30, just like we did now. The only two things, but things will crop up between now and then, is the public hearing for the donation, provided I get the right answer. And then the review for the bids for the software, and see if you want to schedule, I'll see how the photo shows, but presentations.
okay.
Right now, that's all I got. I have not asked the other departments if they have anything, so, and if something comes along, please let me know that you need them there.
Okay.
I will not be here for the 25th.
You will not be,
I will not.
right? No James? Thank you.
Okay, we need to go into non-public to discuss a couple of employee matters. Under RSA 91A:3, 2A and C.
You make the motion.
Yes,
What time is it? 8:14.
8:14, sure.
You gonna adjourn after?
Yes, we will be adjourning after, so
Just for your visitors.
be ending the televised part of the meeting now.
So you want me to flip the button?
So,
No, not yet.
second?
What's the second? You James second, all in favor?
Aye.
Yes.
Yes.
Yes, yes.